the NBA and FIBA made an announcement that they continue to explore starting and launching the new league in Europe, NBA Europe project. Did you watch the entire press conference?
I did not.
It was 25-minute long press conference. Not much has been said actually, but I kind of tried to exclude some main points that we could try to discuss to bring some clarity regarding the project.
Like before you do that, what was your reaction, during this conference and after? Like, did you expect something more, or this was exactly you were, thinking what Silver is going to say?
I expect a little bit more.
Yeah?
Yeah, because the whole announcement, like NBA is ready to take the next step in exploring a potential league in Europe with FIBA. I mean, it's just like
exploring.
We're still exploring.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. To me, listening to them and just reading the whole information that is provided on the internet coming from the US sources, I'm just lacking certainty. If the project is about to launch basically in 17 months, not even 2 years from now, but it's basically 17 months. I mean, there should be more certainty, information. They're talking about building new arenas for this project.
You're not going to do that in not for this summer, but for next summer. You're not going to build new arenas.
It seems like to me, maybe I'm not, biggest expert in this construction business, but I thought that it's not how it goes usually. So, and the whole thing that I talked with a lot of people from the NBA around the EuroLeague, there's such a big information gap, that it's usually weird. If something is really coming, there would be more information. And even when you were listening to Adam Silver, he emphasized a few times that it's okay, we're thinking about this 16-team format, but it's still a subject to change. We're still in early stages, and we just wanted to make this announcement to show everybody that we're doing this, we're really doing this, and we're open for talks. And I'm like, it doesn't sound serious, So
what are you saying?
I was skeptical at first. I'm still I didn't manage to get enough information yet to be convinced that this is serious. This is for sure going to be launched starting from the season 26-27. I still have a lot of question marks about the whole project. I mean, on paper, the business model looks nice and fine, but the reality is different. We have a lot of new clubs that has been, established recently. Like we have this thing with BC Wolves. We all remember those slides that they have, the business plan. Everything looks nice, possible on paper, but in reality, it's hard to create anything from scratch. It's Europe. It's non-profitable business here regarding basketball. So I still have a lot of question marks. Like if you look at the NBA, how many other projects outside the NBA were actually successful? I mean, I know a lot of NBA people who are cursing about the G League, NBA Africa, NBA academies. A lot of academies were shut down. So there's still a lot of uncertainty, but at the same point, I heard things that maybe those statements didn't sound confident, but at least they might already have a serious financial backup to start this project. I don't want to go into details yet about it, but I'm hearing that they might have a, let's say, strong core for that side, at least to start a project and to run for a few or more years. That's the first thing. And I heard that there might be a lot of Trojan horses in the EuroLeague already saying that, oh, we're not going to join the project, or like, we're with the EuroLeague, we stick to the EuroLeague. Although, they might have talked things with the NBA Europe already. They might be, they might be undecided, keeping their options open, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's early, but I heard that they might be way ahead when I thought in the beginning and many people think. So it's going to be interesting to watch how it's going to develop.
So what you're saying is that they're doing everything very privately, basically.
True. They had a lot of private meetings in Paris when they had those NBA games in Paris between Spurs and Indiana. It was a very selected group of people that met NBA guys and, had this NBA business model provided. It was the whole business model was provided and proposed as well in the meeting with the NBA governors and the New York as well. So, they're really taking next steps. And it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to evolve. But because I'm actually hearing that, although I've just read Paulius Matiūnas' interview before this podcast, and he keeps saying that we are united in the EuroLeague, we feel confident, we have a great project and things like that. There are some people who are close to the situation, who think that long term it can be a death sentence to the EuroLeague. So it's interesting.
Okay.
One thing that I don't want to get back to those EuroLeague and Super League times, where we have a divided European basketball landscape with few great teams in one competition and few great teams in the other competition. And again, you end up in this crazy market here in Europe with EuroLeague, NBA Europe, BCL, Eurocup, FIBA Eurocup, a lot of crazy things, too many tournaments to follow. It's a toxic landscape.
Exactly. Nobody wins.
Yeah, especially the fan. Players might win for the salaries, for stuff. Maybe some organizations might win, like FIBA. For sure, for FIBA, it's good to have NBA as the partner to trying to take over the EuroLeague. But fans, we're losing.
Yeah, for sure. At first, I thought, that this NBA Europe thing, like the first rumors that came out, there was going to be like 8 or 10 franchises playing, 2 maybe clubs from the EuroLeague, at maximum. All the other are like freshly made franchises. At first, I was like very skeptical. Mm-hmm. Now, if Adam Silver is saying like we are thinking about a possibility of 16 teams with 4 teams rotating, and out of those 16 teams, 4 would be from the EuroLeague maybe, and even the names were kind of messed around in the rumors. Now I'm thinking that, okay, this will, at first I thought this will not harm the EuroLeague, and with this I thought, okay, this will harm the EuroLeague, but it will not make neither competition great. Because if you have in NBA Europe, you have all the franchises from football-ruled countries, and I mean Spain, France, Italy, Britain, Germany. That's like 5 big countries with the biggest markets in Europe, but they are all ruled by football. And so if you have this NBA Europe that are based with clubs from there, so how this is going to be the most exciting competition in Europe? Like, it's not going to be. And then in the other, you're going to have, the Greeks, the Turks, the Serbians, Lithuanians, maybe some other teams, and you're going to have
basically east of Europe.
Yeah, basically the Eastern Conference.
Eastern League. No more EuroLeague, Eastern League.
But that's, the main fans of EuroLeague right now. Like you can watch their ratings, you can watch the most popular teams, you can watch the EuroLeague fantasy game, which is played mostly by the Greeks, the Serbians, the Turks, and the Lithuanians. So,
that's what Paulius Matiūnas actually emphasized. You can have any business model that you want, but in Europe it's specific. It doesn't work the way it works in States. You need fan bases, passion, this unique thing that most of these South and East side teams and organizations have. So that's what actually he said, that's why NBA should consider and have EuroLeague around the table as well. And I don't remember if I was talking to Gytis last time, but we did this tier list of teams, of potential EuroLeague expansion teams that could join the EuroLeague. And I mentioned that FIBA is not talking with the EuroLeague anymore, and they do not want to talk to the EuroLeague. And from what I heard, basically around January, it felt like it was this Cold War between the EuroLeague and FIBA moment and stage again. But I heard that in the recent weeks and months, the conversation started going once again. And even Paulius Matiūnas confirmed just today in an interview on L'Equipe that they had a meeting with FIBA, NBA, and EuroLeague people 10 days ago. Just one more time to clarify that, hey, we still have a best product here in Europe. The EuroLeague. So we can do something. And the offer that you had before that apparently was rejected, EuroLeague didn't think that it was an actual offer, so they just wanted to reset the conversation. And although the NBA made this announcement with FIBA that we're doing this thing in partnership with FIBA, I heard that there are still in the EuroLeague, there are still people who think that EuroLeague could be involved. So, because even Silver said no agreements has been made. So it might be still on the table, but since they were already together with FIBA for a long time, they couldn't make an announcement without anybody else than FIBA. So maybe there is still a chance that EuroLeague could be involved somehow. It's a long shot, but when you mentioned this thing about divided Europe and stuff, I really think that if NBA Europe wants to be successful, they must take over EuroLeague. Like, either you'd work together or you must definitely take over the EuroLeague to be successful, to have the best players in the European landscape in NBA Europe project. Otherwise, who's going to watch that product in non-basketball markets such as Manchester, some Italian country cities, even Germany. I don't know.
Right, guys. Trace & Chase has provided us with another Prism box, Prism Hobby box. These are collectible EuroLeague cards made by Panini. And because Trace & Chase is our friends, they got a special code at traceandchase.com, BasketNews5 for a 5% discount as well. And today we'll be doing a little bit of a unboxing, but it's going to be a special one, a blind one.
Yep.
Donatas is picking his starting five you're picking your starting five without knowing what cards are going to be picked next. So you only can choose once, and when you choose a card there, no more redos.
It's 15 cards for me, and we're unpacking 3 packs from this Prism box.
Yep.
And Prism box includes 1 autograph card, 15 Prism cards, and 25 inserts.
There could be some special cards in here, so let's see.
Have a look.
I only have 3 seconds to decide. Out.
Roland Schmitz.
Out.
Roman Sorkin.
Out. What? Come on now. Give me something better.
Jordan Lloyd.
Monaco?
Wow, you're saying no to Jordan Lloyd.
I'm waiting for a more special card,
Wow, so out?
Out. I'm believing in those remaining cards
left.
Oh,
Pablo Prigioni.
11.
Yeah, let's go with Pablo.
Okay.
I'm starting Pablo.
One, and you just have to pick some cards, actually.
It's okay. 1 out of 5.
Gregor Fučka. This is some rare card.
Well, it's colorful, for sure.
So? Fučka was ahead of the game when it came to positionless basketball. No, Fučka was a legend. And he's from Virtus Roma.
Come on, give me... Okay.
So, whoa. So, in? Okay.
Yeah.
You have some vets. Dimos Dikoudis.
Out.
From Olympiacos. Tamir Blatt.
Out. What is this card?
Luis Scola.
Yeah, let's go with Luis for sure.
Now you'll have to pick out of the next
guys.
5.
By the way, Luis Scola from Milan. So when he was 40 years old, I guess.
Okay, he was still good. Do you remember him?
He was delivering numbers
for Argentina and all those years.
Gigi Datome.
Nah.
Wow, you say no to Gigi Datome.
And now you're leaving
I want some current EuroLeague
5
players.
cards left.
Now I feel sorry for
2
Jordan
out of
Lloyd.
5 you gotta pick.
No, yeah, 2 out of 5.
Ife Lundberg from Partizan.
Out.
Okay, this is fearless Vladimir Lucic card from Bayern Munich.
Just for the fearless, you gotta take it, man.
Yeah, it looks nice. The card looks nice. I'm taking Lucic.
And Lucic, maybe this is prime Lucic.
Yeah, great captain.
So 1 out of 3?
Another Bayern player, Devin Booker.
Out.
2 cards left. Kemba Walker from Monaco.
It's just so rare to have a EuroLeague Kemba Walker card, man. But you don't know what's
Yeah,
left.
look. Let's do it for the.
This is a wild card for them holding
I'm
on.
looking at the last one.
For
No,
the
for Kemba.
memes.
So what I get? What I
And
get?
yes, for Andrea Bargnani from Baskonia.
Okay.
I mean,
That's kind of cool, man. I don't know which
I
one's
have
more
a-
That's a
rare.
rare card, by the way.
Yeah,
I have a
it's a really rare
super
card.
big lineup and some really nice cards. Prigioni, Lucic, Scola,
Fuchka.
and Fuchka.
That's a solid
Old school.
hand. That's
And
a solid
let us
hand.
know in the comments if Augustus made any mistakes when picking. 'cause
Some bad decisions there. Hey, some
what
bad
you would have
decisions.
done in his situation.
And use promo code BasketNews5 on traceandchase.com.
I'm skeptical about that too. But to me, you're talking about those talks that are made in private, but I'm reading, I don't know if it was yours transcript of the conference or someone from our colleagues, but Silver said maybe 12 permanent clubs and 4 that would compete on a yearly basis. But that's very much subject to change, and it's something we are just beginning to explore. That tells me, like, I've seen comments, I've seen people in the group chats, like they're thinking that this NBA Europe is starting this summer. Like, it's not happening this summer. Like, EuroLeague A license holders expire in the next summer. That's the earliest this NBA Europe can start. But if Adam Silver is saying, like, we don't even know the format, we are changing the format in one press conference in the other, that's separated by only 2 months, and he's saying also that we are just beginning to explore it. So this tells to me that this is still very work in progress, as I would say. Like, I can't imagine it being around so soon. And also Ettore Messina made some interesting comments. Like, he said, he suggested that some teams have already been or will soon be approached to join the new league. And at that point, he says it will come down to what the teams decide to do and how the EuroLeague responds.
And he also mentions it's an interesting project.
Yeah.
To me, it says that Milan is on the plan. I mean, really. Or he wants to be involved. I don't know. I try to read, behind the lines, and it really feels like either they already had a conversation or for sure they will have this conversation. Because when I was doing this research a month or 2 ago, I already heard about Milan being on the targeted landscape of the NBA Europe. I was just not sure if that's the actual Milan that we have in the EuroLeague or some other project behind AC Milan or Inter Milan, but I don't know. When I saw this article, I'm like, you were talking with the NBA people, you already have this scheduled meeting on your schedule. So again, if let's say it's a 16-team format with 12 permanent franchises, so that's what I have on the paper already. Let's try to identify those potential teams. So we have Asvel in the competition, PSG. Paris Saint-Germain, from Paris, from France, Madrid for sure. There are people who think that Madrid actually already committed to the NBA Europe, and there's a high chance that if Madrid is going there, Barcelona is following them as well. So there's this thing with Manchester City and a basketball branch that they would start. I heard London. I'm just not sure about the football club that would start this basketball project as well. But let's say it's Arsenal or Chelsea, whatever. 6 teams, right? So
surprised football clubs in London.
Who else in London? Whatever. So let's say Milan.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that there might be another Italian team, and on one of those articles, maybe it was the Athletic or Sportico, Rome was mentioned. So I heard about
Rome right now has 2 teams in Italian 3rd division.
3rd division? Oh, you mean basketball teams or
basketball teams?
How about their football team, AS Roma?
Yeah.
Rome. They're good?
Bravo.
They're good?
Bravissimo.
Is Totti still playing?
Yeah,
okay,
for
nice.
sure.
And Del Piero, he's still bowling? Fine.
I think you misunderstood the teams here with Del Piero.
That's the last time when I played FIFA. So, okay. So, German teams, Munich, Bayern, maybe, and Berlin.
Yeah.
I remember I had those conversations and I heard that Berlin would have a new team. But again, later on, I heard some rumors that it could be Alba Berlin somehow transformed to this NBA Europe project. But anyways, let's say 2 German teams. So we already have 10 clubs. We saw those rumors about Fenerbahce being in a mix. So we already have 11.
So the only teams that have not, basically from what you have heard, this whole picture that you're painting to me, like the only teams that have not been approached are like Žalgiris, the Belgrade
Greeks,
teams, and the
Serbs,
Greek teams.
And there's this uncertainty of Israel.
Yeah.
But who knows? The interesting thing is that both Ataman started flirting with the NBA thing. He's always like trying to play something like, oh, I'm fine by the EuroLeague. I'm one of the biggest sponsors. They should be aware that the NBA is on the corner. So they should be careful about that. And I think that the owner of Hapoel Tel Aviv mentioned a few times about this NBA thing. So they might be in the mix, or plan B, plan C, or whatever. But the thing about those 4 teams on rotation, I just don't get it how it's going to work. Okay, you can... Adam Silver mentioned that he would like to imply something like the salary cap and to make those teams work under the same financial landscape. But what you gonna do with those 4 rotation teams? To me, it would be a huge win for BCL to make it relevant. Like if you make the Final Four in the BCL, you go to this NBA Europe thing, and it's a huge motivation for teams, both financial and just in general. I think it's fine. But let's say Bonn makes the Final Four. How they go in this NBA Europe plan and the competition that they want to have? How they gonna play there for 1-year license, and then how can you build a program like this when you know that you'll be out? So and you end up in this EuroLeague cycle, that's why it hurts the competition as well. There were so many teams uncertain about their future. You cannot invest long term.
Yeah.
You cannot make him, same NBA Europe partner. So that's the confusing part to me. You should make a closed league, but is that even a legal thing? I mean, FIBA was so much opposed against the EuroLeague being a closed league. We saw this thing with the Super League in football. So...
So they are either taking all EuroLeague teams, or with the next in the next 2 months we might hear that every EuroLeague team is considering going to the NBA Europe, or this is going to just not going to happen.
The big advantage that I could see for the NBA is to try to bring this NBA flavor as much as possible, such as
How you're
making
going to do that?
Preseason games between the NBA Europe and the real NBA clubs, making, bringing those teams to those markets, trying to make them more relevant, to bring those fan bases to sell tickets and things like that. And one thing that I've heard, which is really, really, really interesting, is the player pool. We're already currently having this big issue of the very limited pool of high-level players in the EuroLeague. And if the NBA Europe is launched, what they're going to do with the players? There are no players in Europe. And there's this thing. There is this, half true, half joke thing. If the agent proposed the NBA player an option to go to Europe, the player wants to fire him, just because of that. Because they want to stick to the NBA, they want to chase for those big contracts. And nobody wants to go to Europe. Just look how many players went to the EuroLeague, how hesitating they were. What if the NBA thinks of some model to make it, something close to a G League, or changing the contract concept, like getting rid of few two-ways, exhibit 10 things, but pushing those guys to go to the NBA Europe project and trying to make some rules, exceptions, or just in general to make it an easier platform for them to get back, because there's a high chance that NBA Europe clubs will have some people from the NBA teams and front offices, to run the organization, because I don't think that NBA will just give money to Europeans and say, hey, just run the way you want. I don't think so. They will get some expertise from the NBA and from the front office perspective as well. And, you can start making some bridges, by sending players, testing them, getting the intel and stuff like that. I mean, you have to think of a lot of initiatives for the NBA guys and NBA Europe to make it more relevant and to have this advantage. And I think Elijah Bryant gave an interview and he said that it would be a great thing to go through big European cities to be part of the NBA Europe project, and it would be way more convincing to the NBA guys and Americans in general. So this was interesting.
But you would just make a G League in the Europe then. That does not make a.
Let's say you can call up the player during the season.
Okay.
To make it more serious.
Okay. Well, a lot of ifs, a lot of rumors. Really interesting what the next couple of months and this summer is going to bring regarding to the NBA Europe.
We might be on the verge of the history. It's a bit scary. It's a bit exciting,
Yeah.
because I really don't care what's the name of the competition. Is it NBA Europe or the EuroLeague? I just want healthy, strong league that makes sense. And, the fans, media, all of us are winners of this one competition.
But if that's if in that competition you have those 10, 11 teams that you just mentioned, I'm not sure how exciting it can be. Like the names you mentioned, I'm not sure how exciting and how profitable it can be.
Yeah. Time will tell. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. Do not forget to subscribe to our Basket News channel on YouTube, to follow us on all the audio platforms. Thanks for watching. Join Beyond Plus community on basketnews.com/plus and give some love to Augustas Šuliauskas on Twitter, Instagram, and all the platforms. And just in general, just send him DMs and share your love, guys.